nearly lost my dad. My dad got diagnosed with testicular cancer when I was 12, 13. He got given 24 hours to live, and then he got through the night, got given 3 weeks to live, but he's still here today. So that was a tough time. Within the space of 4 years, for my first game, I was making my Premier League debut, so it was a rapid rise. I remember him saying, "Hey, you look like you played all your life in goal," and it was literally my first game in goal. Something just clicked. I've always maintained this. I wasn't the best goalkeeper. What I did have better than anyone else was I worked hard. I nearly died. So it was April the 17th, and I should have been dead. It should have killed me. And I thought it was, and my heart was beating out my chest. I was hallucinating. I was driving a car at the time as well, and I don't know how I got home.
Today on Shake the Mic, we are joined by a man who stood between the sticks at the very highest level. From his early days at Coventry City to signing for Liverpool and representing England, Chris Kirkland has seen it all. But beyond the pitch, Chris has also become a powerful voice on mental health, sharing his personal journey with honesty and courage. We're honoured to have him with us today to talk about football, life and everything in between. Chris, welcome on. Massive warm welcome to Shake the Mic. Thanks for taking your time out to come in. The time couldn't be more apt for me either as a Liverpool fan after winning a league there on a weekend.
I know, yeah. It's no, thanks for having us in. It's the only game I actually missed the game because I was away. We were in America, which had been booked for months and months with friends. So, but listen, I was devastated to miss it. But I'll be at the next games and the last game to see them lift the Premier League title, which is going to be someday as well.
Did you watch it out in America?
We got back. We didn't get back till late on the Sunday night, so no, we missed it. But obviously, I've watched it back, and listen, it was always going to happen.
Yeah, it was written, weren't it?
Yeah, I've been saying it for months. I mean, I think they've been top since November, is it?
Yeah.
So I know everyone was nervous, even when we were 13, 14 points. But yeah, things are written in the stars. And listen, you don't win the Premier League unless you deserve to. And
100% we deserve it, don't we?
Yeah, they've been brilliant. People are saying Man City this, not been the same, but rubbish. You've still got to win your games, and you've still got to go out and do it. So
we've been knocking on the door for a while as well, and there's been other seasons where we've had a lot more points and we haven't won it. You know, I think we've won it on 86 or something. We've had 97 and not won the league. So this
league gets harder and harder every year. Not just the teams at the top, but the teams. I know the teams at the bottom list that they're going to go down, but in general, you look at all the other teams. Anyone can beat anyone in the Premier League. And
football's evolving, isn't it, Chris? Massively.
It is. It's the toughest league and the best league in the world, and to 100%. Win that, and hopefully over the next couple of years, we could win a couple more. Hopefully,
I believe we could, and I believe we're going in the right direction, and I feel like Slot's great as well, and the way they brought him when he come in, I was a little bit unsure. Obviously, with Jurgen going and stuff, I think every fan was worried, weren't they?
Everyone was, mate. I mean, because what Jurgen did, not only for the club but for the city as well.
Yeah, it was his personality. He was a massive character, weren't he?
He was. He brought the city back together. He brought the fans back together. I do a lot with the LFC Foundation, and he did a lot of stuff people didn't see behind the scenes within the city. For us at the LFC Foundation, so he was a special guy. So when he left, everyone was devastated, and rightly so, because what was it, nearly 9 years he'd been there. And then when somebody else comes in, nobody likes change, do they? Especially when something's going well.
It's very hard to adapt, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, what can you say? I mean, he's a confident chap, isn't he, Arnie? And he speaks great. His first interview was amazing, but even he must have thought. I mean, when he looks back now, thinking, wow, this has gone better than he could have ever imagined.
Big shoes to fill as well, Chris, isn't it? You know what I mean? As you say, he made us believe again, Jurgen. And when they said they were bringing Arne Slot in, I'll be honest, I hadn't really heard of him. And I had a little look at him, and I was like, he speaks really well and stuff like that. And like I was saying to my eldest lad, Jared, I think he'll do all right, but I didn't imagine that we'd have that first season the way we have. So
spot on. I mean, everyone thought it was going to be Javi, didn't they? Javi Alonso.
Yeah.
And I think everyone probably
wanted Javi.
Because what he'd done and what he'd done at Leverkusen when he went there, they were near the bottom of the league. And within 18 months, the champions. So, I mean, I still think that probably will happen in the coming years. But
I think the timing was off for him because of where he was with what he was doing with them. I think he didn't want to walk away from something so special what he had. And I think, as we said about like trying to fill them shoes, and we've seen it go wrong before. And sometimes you can do it elsewhere, but doing it in other leagues, but as you said, the Premier League's the best league in the world, and if you can do it in the Prem, you can do it anywhere. But there's been great players and great managers elsewhere, and when they come to Prem, can't do it the same.
Hopefully we've got Arnie for the next 10 years.
For the next duration, yeah,
for the next
100%.
duration. So, but if he carries on doing what he's doing, whoever comes in next is going to have some act to follow again.
100%, mate. Yeah.
But that's life. That's football. Liverpool will always attract the top players. Will always attract the top managers.
Yeah.
They've got the fan back. Listen, nothing happens without the fans. You've seen on Sunday. I've seen the pit. I know I've been to many games myself. You can have the best players. You can have the best setup, but football's nothing without fans.
Yeah, and
nothing.
I do genuinely believe, we've got the best fan base in the world.
Yeah.
There's nowhere like Anfield. And like, as you said about attracting players, my eldest lad, Jared, like he was saying to me, Dad, what if Salah goes? What if Salah goes? I said, listen, son, it's happened to through my whole life. Owen went, we wondered. Torres came, we wondered. Suarez came, and then you keep thinking, are we going to be able to replace them? And you do.
Yeah, it's a frightening thought, isn't it?
Other players come.
Yeah.
But obviously Mo Salah now,
It's a frightening thought because, listen, Salah will leave one day. Van Dijk will leave one day. Yeah. But thinking about it now, it's like, wow, what are we going to do when they do leave? But you're right, football moves on and you get players come in. We've got a brilliant setup throughout the youth team.
Homegrown talent, look at Connor, look at Bradley they brought through and stuff
academy,
like that.
The job the academy do and consistently do it as well, bringing lads through. Listen, the foundations are set now for many, many more years.
Chris, I'd like to talk to you about grassroots football and your football career. You were born in 1982, am I right?
81. Birthday tomorrow.
I've got your birthday gift over
there. Have you, really?
Yeah,
wow, look at you. 1981.
1981, yeah. So yeah, you've got 9 years on me. So, what was it like growing up for you in the 80s? Was it in Leicester you grew up?
Leicester, grew up in Leicester. All my family were Leicester fans, but I seen the red candy kit late 80s, and that was me, a Liverpool fan. So we used to get the supporters bus up. My first game was 1988 with my dad. He used to stand on the cop. Not all the time because obviously money was tight. But we come up a few times and always been a Liverpool fan. And to stand on that cot with my dad behind me.
When it was standing and that.
I know it's gone back to probably standing now, and mostly in the cot. But back then when it was, he used to sit me or stand me in front of one of the white barriers, so I could sit on that. And I still look to this day. Every time I go back to Anfield, I always look, and I can see myself as a kid, and my dad standing behind me.
You were probably bigger than most of them then.
I think I probably was, but it was a cop then, man. I mean, the stories when the goal went in, the whole cop moved. Like everyone moved, and it was a brilliant experience. And then to play for the team you supported as a kid, there's just nothing like it. I mean, you stand there on the cop as a kid, and you think, God, I'd love to play, but it's more hope. I'd love to play out there one day. But then when it becomes a bit more of a reality, and when I heard about the possibility that Liverpool wanted to sign us, because I knew 6 months before the move.
Okay, I want to come to this a little bit later because you're exciting me, Chris, but I just want to go back a little bit first.
Yeah.
When did you, as a child, what were you like as a child? When you were growing up, just a normal kid, before Coventry and stuff like that. Yeah. What was you like as a kid, Chris?
I was an outside kid, always loved being outside. We always used to go on family walks. We always used to do stuff at the weekends. Money was tight like every family. After school, I'd always throw my bags in, not do my homework, straight down the park playing football. I was an outfielder, so I played on pitch. I was never any good. I was always just obsessed.
What position did you play, Chris?
Midfield.
Did you, yeah?
Well,
centre mid?
I tried. I stood in midfield. I don't know if I played midfield or not, but it was, I just obsessed with sport. Tennis. I used to go down to a local tennis club. And where it was is they got the big trees behind it. And if a ball went over, I used to go and nick the ball and take it home. And I was obsessed with golf, but at cricket, any sport, school. I wasn't naughty at school. Never caused any issues, but I just struggled to adapt to lessons.
Was you academic? Was you good with a pen? No. And then you just didn't entertain it?
No, and it's something I regret to this day. And I do a lot of talks in schools with personally and with a foundation, and a lot of them say, "I said, well, you never needed it. You were a footballer." But I said, "Well, what if I wasn't?"
Because there's nothing guaranteed, is there?
No, there's not. No, so it's something I massively regret. Thankfully, our daughter, she's very academic. She's coming up to her A-levels now, but she certainly don't get that from me. She gets out for mum. But school, it wasn't naughty, but I was just obsessed with sport. I used to stay, in fact, actually, the cricket. So I was quite good at cricket as well. And I don't know if you remember, the old test matches used to be over 5 days, and they used to be over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. right? So I used to bunk off school Thursday, Friday and Monday to watch the cricket. So my mum and dad left before me, before school.
Go back home.
And then I got, obviously they come home after, so I could just stay off school.
Stay home.
And all the little brown letters used to get sent, and obviously I was at home, so I knew if there was a school letter, so I used to hide them under my bed until my mum found them one day. She turned the mattress over and found about 100 letters off the school that I'd been playing truant, but it was because when the cricket was on, I love cricket.
Yeah, another letter, yeah. What scores?
Yeah, oh yeah, so I when I went upstairs and the bed was turned up, I was like, oh.
The bed was higher.
Oh my God, yeah. But yeah, just a normal upbringing.
Brothers and sisters?
Two sisters, one older, one younger. Yeah, I mean, I think as the football got a bit more serious, they obviously made sacrifices because my mum and dad were taking me everywhere and stuff like that. So it was nice to look after them when I did make it as a footballer. But yeah, I had great childhood. Can't moan. And my dad, nearly lost my dad. My dad got diagnosed with testicular cancer when I was 12, 13. He got given 24 hours to live.
Wow.
And then he got through the night, got given 3 weeks to live, but he's still here today. So that was tough times.
Yeah,
that was really tough.
Yeah.
So they nearly lost the house, they nearly lost all that, but they keep you away from that. It's not until years later.
They shelter you from that, don't they?
It's not until years later when you find out just exactly how bad things were.
You look back and it makes you give them an even greater fan respect, I suppose.
Yeah, it does.
Some people go their whole lives, Chris, and they don't discover. I believe everybody's talented. Everybody has got a talent, but the thing is, it's finding it. Some people go their whole life and they don't discover it. And a lot of kids, when they play football, they want to play outfield, as you did, as you said. How did you discover that you were a good goalkeeper?
By an accident. By accident. So I played on pitch for my school, and then there was a team called Barwell, my local team.
Yeah, where you lived.
I was on the bench as an outfielder, and one day the goalkeeper got injured, and I was the only one on the bench. And the manager went, "You're gonna have to go in goal. There's no one else." And I said, "I've never played in goal." And he says, "Well, you're big, so try and stop the ball." And that was it. So it was literally, that was my first, just before I was 14.
How old? Yeah, 14, 13.
So, and then within the space of 4 years, for my first game, I was making my Premier League debut. So it was a rapid rise.
See that game, Chris, when you played in goal? Yeah. What was it
Loved
like?
Loved it.
And was you good?
Come off,
straight
made some
away?
saves. I remember them saying, "Flipping, you look like you played all your life in goal." And it was literally my first game in goal. Something just clicked, like you said. You
knew, you
believe everyone's got
something.
a talent. And listen, I've always maintained this. I wasn't the best goalkeeper, but what I did have better than anyone else was I worked hard. So I worked harder than, and I think most lads that have played with me will say the same. My attitude was good. I respected people, respected the coaches, but I worked my socks off. I still do to this day.
That's very important, though, innit? Work ethics, everything, and Chris. It's something you've obviously had installed into you, and they always say, talent beats hard work. I mean, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Listen, you'll always have people that are better than you at stuff. That's just common nature.
Yeah.
But no one should work harder than you. And that only comes within you. Only you know if you're doing everything you can to work as hard. Yeah. And I still, as I say, I instill that in, my daughter. I said, listen, don't mind if you fail, don't mind if you do this, but as long as you try your best, I'm not going to ask any more from you.
Do you know, in that instance, as a 13-year-old, when you stood between the sticks for Barwell, Chris, and you had that game, in that moment, that very moment, did you know deep down in your being, I've got something here, or this is special, or did you feel gravitated really towards that at that moment?
No, I think it was excitement to start with, but it wasn't until I went to, there was a team called Blaby in Wexton, and to be fair, my dad, he never pushed me at all with football. He used to come home from work, even when he was ill, he'd take me down the park. I said, "Come on, Dad, let's go." But he never dragged me or anything like that. And there was a team that I played for, Barwell. Then I went to Westfield Wanderers, which was a better team. And this is when I started playing in goal. And then Blaby and Wexton in Leicester come calling. And if you got a call off Blaby and Wexton, then you knew you were half decent.
You were on the way.
So they've got a lot of history with players, Peter Shilton, Dion Dublin, that played, and a few more as well that played for this team. And I didn't want to leave. So I was happy with playing with my mates, and I didn't want to leave. And my dad said, "Listen, why don't you just give it a go?" So give it a go. So in the end, I went. He never forced me. And I went to Blaby and Wexton, and that's when things started to kick off a little bit. So I got noticed by the county. The two coaches at Blaby and Wexton, Mick Pearce and Paul Dannon. I don't know if you remember Paul Dannon, he was a Premier League referee.
No, not remember.
So he was a Premier League referee. They were the coaches, and they went above and beyond. So they obviously seen something as well. So they used to turn up early to train me on my own. They used to stay after to train me on my own. So those
That's
two,
very special, isn't it, Chris? You know, like at that level as well.
Yeah,
like
it was only Sunday League.
the grassroots
Sunday
level.
League, grass league,
There's nothing like that, like putting the time in.
No.
We've got a little team now, me and Dan, who's just been in here then, and our both lads play there, and they're under 8s, they're going to the under 9s, so, and we absolutely love it, but it's just that, like, that seeing kids develop and putting that time in, and we've got some kids who were like, you know, just like couldn't really kick a ball, and now they've come on so much, and there's other kids who are naturally quite good, and they've developed also, and it's just putting that time in with them, and it's like there's no feeling like that grassroots Sunday League, you know what I mean? It's amazing.
Well, a lot of coaches think it's about them, and you know, I do a lot of talks, and I've worked with coaches that think it's all about them. I've been into schools where teachers think it's all about them and they're only bothered about themselves, and I just can't get my head around it. Yeah,
they're self-centred.
So if you can help, like in anything with football in life, if you can help people, then why not?
100%. And it's just like that, just fills me with joy just there, and they stayed with you and they turned up early with you, because when you can see something in someone, why wouldn't you nurture it and develop it?
Listen, I probably wouldn't have got to where I got to without them. Starting, showing that interest. Obviously my dad come down as well. But they, and then when, you know, if my dad couldn't get me, they'd come and pick me up. So they'd travel 40 minutes to come and pick us up to bring us to the games. So it was, those two were really, really special. And then Blaby and Whetstone was, say, we had a good team.
Did they develop you mentally as well, Chris? Like, because you knew they believed in you.
Yeah.
So it's like, because that's also a big part of it as well, isn't it? So then, like, you're thinking, hang on a minute, these believe in me here, and these are putting this extra time in with me. So.
And we won as well. So we won things, which is not the be-all and end-all, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's nice, but when you've got a good team and you're winning things, you get noticed. Simple as that. And the county, the scouts come down. George Hayes, who was a scout in Leicestershire, he's without him as well. He's seen something from an early age. He was saying, listen, you're going to make it. There's no pressure though, but it says that, you know, just keep doing what you're doing.
Did you truly believe you were going to make it, Chris?
I didn't until, listen, I never believed. It's a weird one, because as soon as you believe you've made it, that's when things go wrong. So even during my career, you still have to do the same things. You still, you know, I still was the first into training. I was the last to leave throughout all my career. But when you make your Premier League debut, you don't think you've made it. You just think that all the hard work's paid off. Yeah, because I think as soon as you think you made it, then that's when trouble comes.
There's never any security, is there? There's not any.
But listen, when you play your first game, then that's not it. Then you've got to work even harder.
So from Blamey and Wexton, what happened? What was the development then, Chris?
So I got in the Leicester county side, and obviously if you get in the county side, you're doing okay. And then I started training with Coventry City on a Wednesday night at the Sky Blue Lodge, where the first team trained, and Stevie Grisovich, who was the first team goalie at the time, used to train us. And it was just the best. Like, I was thinking, wow, I'm being trained by Oggy. And he was, and I say to this day, if you've seen any stuff I've done, he was the best professional I've ever worked with. He was the first, and this is, I think, where I got all my work ethic thong that come after this as well. He was the first in, last out, always helping the lads, always coming in the youth team dressing room, asking if you any questions, you need anything. Like to fag in a beer, like the lads did back in those days, but he was just somebody I speak to this day. To see the way he treated people, the way he worked, definitely set the tone for me. So I started training with them. And then Leicester, who I was from, they had no interest at all until I started going to Coventry. And then they said, look, we want to sign you as well in schoolboy forms when you're 16. But I'd already struck up a relationship with Oggy. And I knew I was going to go to Coventry. And even though Leicester tried and all my family were Leicester fans, I was from Leicester. Listen, we used to go down to Filbert Street and watch family football and Monday night football. You know, I used to go and watch Leicester. But Liverpool was my team. But the bond I struck up with Oggy was why I signed for Coventry.
The decision was made through Oggy because you knew you had that. And a bond is everything, isn't it, Chris? And also as well, it's as you said, it's you know, ethics and discipline. And do you believe that separates the good from the great, Chris? I do. Like, you know, you can be good, but it's all them little extra bits and pieces that you do.
Yeah.
Turning up, being punctual, working hard.
Yeah, listen, Ronaldo, I work with Jose Semedo at Sheffield Wednesday, and he was Ronaldo's best mate. So they come through Sporting Lisbon Academy together. So this will tell you what. So everyone says, oh, he's talented. Yeah, he's talented, Ronaldo. Listen, no doubt about it. One of the best players ever. But he told me a story that when they were kids in the youth team, they used to sneak out every night and go down to the local pitch and work and train and work together and do extra every single day. And it's no coincidence that he's gone on. And listen, some don't. Some are players that play at the top level that don't put the work in. They just turn up and they've got that natural ability. But I always believe if you put the extra work in, you'll get your dividends. Dividends will pay off.
100%, yeah. I believe as well, you can copy what the greats do. There is, you either got it or you haven't. If I went and trained with Ronaldo every day for a fortnight, he showed me everything he knew and was like, Jack, I do this like this. It doesn't mean that I'm going to become a great player. But if you've got a good format, a good base to work from, and you have got the right fundamentals, then if you develop it in the right way, that's when it really blossoms.
You're right, I've played with lads that have had the most ability, and you're thinking, wow, what a player, but they just didn't want to put the work in, didn't want to train, late to training, and you try to give them a G-up and a shake-up, and they just didn't want to know, because that was just, and you're thinking, wow, if you only just applied yourself, if you only put the work in, you could be unreal.
Do you know what I think it is as well sometimes, Chris? Because they've always had that natural talent and they've never had to try. When they've always had like the feedback, people have said, you're fucking brilliant, you're great, you're amazing, blah, blah, blah. But they've never had to try, so it's just always been there. Yeah. So you take it with a pinch of salt, where if you get the taste for something, and you're like, you're on the brink, you're on the cusp, but you're like, no, I've got to work for this.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. As well. Your hunger comes from there.
I think times have changed as well. Going back, and now it's so professional now.
The game's developed, it's evolved massively.
But off the pitch as well.
Yeah, because as you said, years ago, the lads, like, they'd have a fag, they'd have a bevy and stuff like that, where now, that's unheard of,
listen, some probably still do, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's in the right times, as long as you're not doing it a couple of days before a game, if you're doing it in your off-season, there's nothing wrong with that. But only you know what if you're doing right by your body.
100%. And it now the way the routine is, even kids now who go to the gym who aren't professional athletes, they've got structure, they've got systems, you know what I mean? And because of the way the world has evolved and the internet, information's become more readily available, products have become more readily available. So people have just went poof and leveled up. And that's at lower level. So the elite, they are really, really taking things to the next level. Listen,
at Liverpool at the weekend, you see them all having a beer and a glass of water. Why not? They've just won the Premier League.
It's allowed.
It's allowed.
Can't be school every day.
You don't sign a contract and it says you can't do this, you can't do that. But you know what's right and wrong. You know if you're doing it at the wrong times or if it's going to have a detrimental effect. If you're doing it all the time, that's wrong. If you're having the odd one here and there and letting a bit of steam off, there's no issue with that.
Do you think the best players now are better than the best players then?
Listen, there's arguments for there's arguments for Steven Gerrard.
Listen, this is a question I've got to ask you this. Steven Gerrard is my boyhood hero.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Scouser, Liverpool fan all my life. What was it like to be a part of a team with such a inspirational?
Well, could he play in this team now? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, could he play? Absolutely.
Could play anywhere.
So
for me, he's the best player to ever put a red shirt on. That's my still now. That's what I'd say.
Ronaldo in his peak, could he play now? Yeah.
Of course.
So it's different. I always, when people always ask, not you, but when you get asked that about would that era beat this era, you shouldn't be asking them questions, because let each era be what they are. Let them each have their success. Like, people go back to, the team of the 80s, would they beat this team? You can't.
You can't say it like that.
Just
but I'm just saying in terms of...
listen, I'm not having it.
In terms of the game, Chris, maybe not individual for individual, but I'm saying, like, the level of football then to the level of football.
Yeah, it's gone up.
So every player's leveled up.
It's faster.
You know what I mean?
The faster, the pace is faster, the equipment's better, the balls are different. So, it's totally different now. It's the game, the pace of the game is a lot, and you've got to be fitter. I think you've got to be a lot fitter these days. I think a lot of clubs now, in their mantra when they're looking for players, particularly at a younger age, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, because I've heard that they're looking for athletes. So they're looking for players that can run, and then they can adapt them. Then they can teach them the technical side and stuff like that. But I think to play at the Premier League these days, you've got to have an engine on you.
I always say to Danny, like, about the kids who we've got here, I say, listen, I don't care how good he can kick a ball in. What I'm looking for out of these kids to try and develop them is just kids who've got a great attitude, who work hard, and if they are athletic, and they'll get stuck in. It them things, if you've got them, you can make them a great player. But you get other kids who can kick a ball great, but
don't work.
Then forget about it. Just forget it. Do you know what I mean? You need to have the other attributes, and everything comes off the back of that.
Because the pace of the game's gone up. You know, you've got to be an athlete. You've got to be an athlete these days. You've got to be able to get up and down. You know, you look at Robbo, up and down the pitch. I mean, over the last,
he's a legend.
Over the last, God, I mean, the stick he's been getting.
Listen, I was just proper smiling, like sitting on the couch. I watched the game at home on Sunday with me boys and my nephew. So there was three of them, and obviously myself. So all four of us. And like our Jared, he's 11, but he's like a little old man. He's like, Robbo, Dad, he's a legend, innit? You know, we done it with Endo and, you know, that squad, and here he is now. And it's like a massive smile on my face. And so many, you know, he's getting stick now. Oh, you know, he's over the hill, he's this, he's that. Listen.
That's what I'm saying. People forget what people have done for you. Like, as soon as they, you know, and I mean, for 10 years, he has been the best left back in the league for me.
100%.
He's just been, but
phenomenal player.
Fortunately, in the world we live in, as soon as they can't quite do what they used to do,
people don't want to know, you know.
People don't want to know, and that's just how sad's that.
But as well, like, you look at, all right, well, who'd you swap him for? And even like the ad they've got to Smikas there, well, Smikas isn't starting. He's starting Rob over him every game. Yeah, they'll bring him on, he'll change it up, but it just goes to show you where he is as a player. Yeah. And like, look, for all the fucking stick Nunes gets and whatever for his finishing and this, that and the other, like, again, I say, Jürgen picked him every game and put him and played him. Whether he'd start him or whether he'd play him. Slots come in, he doesn't seem to mess around. You know, he'll make changes. If he thinks he needs to change the game, he'll change the game. He'll always bring him. He won't bring him on every game, but he'll play him. He'll bring him on. He'll put him in that first team. They don't play it in the first team for nothing. No. People say, oh, he's shite. Yeah. Well, define shite to me, because...
that's what gets me.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, well, all right...
If he's not for you anymore, that's fair enough. If somebody says, well, he's not really good, but don't turn around and say he's crap now. He's crap, he's shit, and all this. Be respectful. But that's what gets me. And listen, I'm a fan. I'm a Liverpool fan. I've played the game as well, and I know how tough it is. I know how tough it is as a player, and the criticism you get, and people say, well, that's part and parcel of it, they get paid rubbish. Like, if I come into people's work and started hammering people's work, what would they say? You don't do that as a person.
This is one I've got for you, Chris, which I was thinking about when I was thinking about you coming on. You know, like criticism in the public eye and stuff like that. People who know me, will make an opinion of me on a personal level from what they know of me, my character. And then if they don't know me, they won't. People who know you personally will have the same opinion, but you've also got people who don't know you, who are making a personal opinion about you, and we all do it. You know, I'll sit there myself and go, look at a player, oh, I love him, or I hate him. But love and hate are strong words and emotions, and I actually don't even know this guy. I'm saying to you, oh, I can love Robbo and that, and I do. I've got that feeling for him, I've got that passion inside me for him, but I don't know him. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's the same. And it's the same on the other foot. So you're sitting there slandering someone, saying, "I can't stand him, I hate him," blah blah. But you don't even know the guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you don't see what he's going through and stuff like that. That's just
the fickle world we live in, though, isn't it, these days? Unfortunately, that'll never change. It's got worse. Social media doesn't help that situation. Social media's gone through the roof. You know, you can't get away with anything these days.
Do you think it's even harder now in this game as well, Chris? Because obviously in the day you were playing football, social media weren't what it is now. So now the way social media is developed, especially on your early days, but social media has developed a lot now, and obviously, so you can't move, as you said, with something being posted.
You've still got the option. You don't have to be on it. No. You know, you don't have to be on social media. If you are on it, then unfortunately you're going to have to accept that there'll be stuff on there that you don't like and you don't want to see. But like I say, you've got the choice not to be on it. But I think, 95% of social media is poison. Yeah. It's just, but you can use it for the good.
There's a false narrative on there, isn't there, Chris? You know, people put up what they want you to see and not who they really are. Yeah. That, you know, they don't say, they don't come on and go, I'm having a terrible day, feeling down in the dumps, this has just happened, that's just happened. But
some do now. I think more and more are now.
More people are opening up, and I love that. Yeah. I really like that.
More people are.
Yeah, I like it when I see someone and I go wide and they go, I'm fucking having a terrible time.
Crap, yeah. Feel crap, yeah.
Yeah, because they're being honest with you, and then that's a starting point, you know.
Yeah.
And we always feel better, I think, for being honest. Otherwise, you're like, yeah, I'm doing great, and you know, that's something I want to touch on with you a bit later. I'm going to move on. You're playing for Coventry, you know, you turned professional. What was it like when you made that debut, Chris?
So when I signed for Coventry in the youth team, there was another goalkeeper that signed, and he was seen as the next big thing. He was seen as the next Cov keeper, the next England goalkeeper, and I was seen sort of, you know, can you push him? Can you push him? So obviously, again, that's where the professionalism kicks in. I'm thinking, right, well, he might be better than me at the minute, but I know he's not going to work harder than me. I know he's not got a better attitude than me. And very quickly, I overtook him very quickly, and that lad, unfortunately, never went on to play football. But then it becomes it. So we stayed on the site where the first team trained.
You got Volta Player of the Year, I think, Chris, didn't you? I read somewhere.
Yes, at Coventry, my first season. But then we stayed on the same place as the first team trained, so we lived on the site. So we seen the first team every day. I used to clean the cars. I used to clean Dean Dublin's car, Paul Williams, which was great because they used to give you an extra £5 because in the youth team you're only on like 40 quid a week. Yeah. But back then in them days, I don't know if you remember, but you won't because you're too young, but the cars back then, like the Mercedes, used to be about 50 foot long, and it used to take me about 3 hours to clean them. So I always used to do that before training, but seeing the first team, and we had some amazing pros. Dion Dublin was captain for the first. This is when I was in the youth team, so he was captain. You had Gary McAllister, you know, Brian Burrows, Roland Nielsen, Paul Williams. You had some incredible like professionals, and seeing them day in day out, watching them, studying them, Hunger, Oggy. You know, we used to get the balls in, but they were great with us as well. And seeing that just spurred you on even more. So, but yeah, then Jim Blythe was my goalie coach. Eventually, when I started training with the first team, and he was just again somebody we just clicked. He just put an arm around you. He knew he seen something, and he progressed us even more with Jim. So I had Jim, Oggy, all the players around us. And when I first started training with the first team, it's a big step up, but I didn't feel out of place.
Do you know, from being on that like YTS and you're cleaning their cars, you actually got a taste of this because you can see, oh yeah, listen, I'm on the cusp here. I'm
glad we did all that jobs. I know lots made of it these days where they don't have to, and obviously for different reasons, safeguarding and stuff like that. But I would not swap that.
Yeah,
I would not swap. We'd clean the footballs. We got all the rubbish up. We had to go in the dressing rooms, pick the towels up off the floor, and all this sort of stuff. But it was
character building.
It was you're doing it for the first team.
Yeah,
you know, you're doing it for players that play.
I'd go down to Anfield and do it now.
But obviously things have changed now, and you can't do that anymore. But I wouldn't change that for the world. And then when I broke into the first team, Magnus Hedman was there. He was Sweden's number one and regarded as one of the best in Europe. So to be put in front of him and to play in front of him, that's when you think, yeah. You know.
Do you know when they come to picking the number one, Chris, like, is the clarity? Are they clear with you? Would they bring you in and turn around and say, listen, Chris, you're the number one here. So obviously, you know, we're gonna start you.
I think you know if you're number one, but then it's up to you to keep that. So, you know, when I signed for Liverpool, I knew I was going to be number two. I got told I was going to be number two. Learn from Jersey. Jersey's going to start. So, but when I was at Coventry, the first time that I thought I was, even then I thought, well, you've still got to, you know, graft and work hard, was when I'd been out. I'd played the previous 5-10 games, and I got a knock at Everton. So Francis Jeffers come through, or it was Danny Kadamatari, I can't remember which one it was, and I've cleared the ball and hit the ball long, and their studs have caught the top of my foot. And I didn't train all week. I thought I broke my foot. Didn't train all week. Literally didn't step foot on the training pitch. And the day before the next game, Gordon said to me, "Well, can you train? Can you play tomorrow?" And I went out and I could hardly move. And he said, "Well, we'll see how you are tomorrow." I woke up on the day of the match. He went, "I'm playing you."
Is this Gordon Strachan?
Gordon Strachan, and he had Magnus Edmund waiting to play, but he's gone with me even though I've not trained all week. So that told me that, you know, he backed me and he wanted me to play, and I was his number one.
What a feeling, Chris.
It was great.
At that time, was McAllister and Keane and stuff like that in the team. It was that time. Okay, Liverpool come knocking, 2001. How did you find out that information, Chris? When did it land, right? Liverpool want to sign you.
Yeah. So all this like tapping up stuff, it happens. So I got, not off the club, it was off Gary Mack. So Gary McAllister, who was at Coventry, went to Liverpool, obviously. Did
later on, yeah.
But then he come back to train when his wife wasn't very well. He come back to train at Coventry while he was still a Liverpool player. But he rang me, I think it was in the March, I think it was, March or April 2001. So still way before the transfer window opens. Said, look, they want to sign you. You know, I'm giving you a call, they want to sign you. Don't sign for anyone else, because I was doing well. And there was a few teams interested in me, but I would have never left Coventry, apart from for Liverpool. You know, I could have gone to a few teams. But he said, just keep doing what you're doing. He said, I'll check in on you every couple of weeks. You know, give me messages off Gerard Hillier as well, through Gary Mack. So, yeah, people are daft if they don't think tapping up goes on. Of course it goes. Of course it goes on. Before the move's done, you have to check if the player wants to go.
Hillier liked you, didn't he, Chris?
Hillier loved us. He was amazing. So, yeah, every few weeks. And then the week leading up to the end of... So this was coming to the end of September. So the window only opened back in them days in August to September.
Yeah, so there was
So there was a month, and then it was the week leading up to the end of the window. So the end of August, he rang me and said,
"Them first 3 weeks in the transfer window, Chris, are you sweating?"
Yeah, he kept ringing me saying, "Listen, it's going to happen."
Do your family know?
My girlfriend knew, my dad and mum knew as well, Well, I said, listen, they, I think they want to sign me, but it's not definite.
Yeah,
it's not definite. And then the week. 2 days before the window was going to shut, he rang, he said, right, get your bags packed. He said, they're going to put a bid in tomorrow for you. He says, you're going to have to get up to Anfield to make sure you're ready. Get your bags packed, get them ready. And I was actually...
Is this Gary McAllister on the phone?
Matt, yeah.
What was your relationship like with Gary?
Brilliant.
Yeah,
I roomed with him,
man.
at Coventry. Then when I went to... He always used to do 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups every night and every morning before when we stayed in the hotel. So again, just a brilliant professional. And then I got... by this time, I didn't have an agent. So I was getting loads of calls, because by this time it was known that Liverpool were going to put a bid in for us. So I had so many calls off different agents, never met before. Like, I never spoke to them before. They're saying, "Oh, we can do this for you, we can do that for you." I'm thinking, yeah, you're only on the phone, but that's the game.
It's the unknown as well, isn't it, Chris? Because you're new to this and you don't really know where you're going with it.
So I met a couple, didn't get on with them. Thought, no, not for me. Not said the right thing. Met with my girlfriend, my wife now, and then I met one bloke and I thought, yeah, I like what you're saying. He said, listen, if you don't want to move, you don't move. He says, you're good enough. He said, it'll be whether it's now or in a year. That's fine. So when he said that, I knew it wasn't about...
Just for the money?
Yeah, for the money for him. And then he come up, he said, listen, even when we were up there, he said, listen, if you've not got the feeling, don't sign. So I went with him, and I was with him then for 17 years. So he was
the right choice.
Yeah, so he was the right bloke. So we travelled up, I was at Highfield Road, because I was still involved with the youth team, even though I was first team as well. I still used to go back to the youth team and interact with them. So we was in at Highfield Road, and Gordon Strachan popped his head round the door, and I was expecting it, because I got a text about half hour before saying what the bid's been put in. Expect a call, like. So he popped his head round the door, and I started, crap myself. I was thinking, oh my God, I was so nervous. And he just went, come here, like, and then went into his office. He said, right, we've had a bid off Liverpool. What do you want to do? And I just fucking froze. I just went, I don't know. He said, well, listen, Oggie's here. He's doing something at the ground. Do you want Oggie to come in? So Oggie come in. So I said, yeah, that'd be good. So Oggie come in the office, sat down. He didn't know. He knew there was a bid coming in, but he didn't know he'd come in. And Oggie, Strack went, right, Liverpool have put a bid in for him. And he went, what the fuck are you still doing here? He said, why are you not on the way to Liverpool? I said, because I love it here. He said, yeah, well, we know you love it here, and we love you having you here. He said, but it's Liverpool. He says, you're too good for Coventry. He says, go up to Liverpool, play with the best players, and improve yourself even more. When he said that to us, I went, yeah.
Yeah, there was no self-applause in your mind.
But he needed that, like, somebody to
that
say
push,
that.
Yeah. So good counsel.
And he actually said, he said, I don't want to see you back. He says, I don't want to see you back here. He said, don't come back. He says, go up to Liverpool and be who you can be.
What did Strack say about that at the time?
He was great. But again, they didn't thought. He went, listen, he said, we'll keep you. We want to keep you. We're not going to force you out. We've just been relegated, by the way. We've just been relegated from the Prem. So there were fire sales and they needed to get money in. But he said, listen, if you tell me now you don't want to sign, we'll turn that bid down and you'll be our number one for as long as you want to be. But obviously when Oggie said that, and the Liverpool, Paul being a fan. So anyway, I went home, my bags were packed, picked my girlfriend up, we drove up, my dad come up, my uncle, agent, all went up to the Speak Hotel. Remember, was it the Crown Plaza in Speak? Yeah. So we met so we didn't get up till like midnight, because this was on a Friday. So we didn't get, or Thursday night, we didn't get up till midnight. and then I got taken straight for scans. The next day we went to the training ground, and this was the Friday. Then it had to be signed by 5 o'clock.
Where was the training ground then? Melwood.
Melwood, the old Melwood.
Yeah.
So like the white building.
Yeah.
You remember that? The new one was just getting built.
Yeah.
I think it was. So we were in this, and then we went to Anfield, and it needed to be signed by 5 o'clock, and it was still like 4:30. And Coventry were messing around a little bit. They were trying to change the deal. Then they wouldn't give me, Coventry wouldn't give me a loyalty payment that I was due. So Brian Mitchelson, the chairman, got on the phone, and my agent just went, just say no. Just say you're not going unless you get what you're due. And it wasn't about being greedy, it was about being fair. So I've always been fair. If you owed something, you due something, and you deserve it, you should get it.
Yeah.
You should get it. If you don't, if you don't, then you don't. But you don't try and haggle, and you don't say, well, I want this instead of that. If you owed what you owed, you get it. Simple as that. And I've always been bought that way.
Fair's fair, yeah.
Fair's fair. So eventually he cracked and went, right, we'll give you. I went, well, it's what I'm due, so thank you. And then, but it was 4:45, and Rick Parry went, listen, we've got 15 minutes. What's the matter? And I went, I'm just nervous. I said, the thought of leaving home was big, because I've always been a home person. Yeah. So the thought of coming up to Liverpool, and
it was what you knew as well, Chris.
And I don't think, and this is, if I wouldn't have had my girlfriend, who's my wife now, we've been together 26 years, if I wouldn't have had her that was going to move up with me, I don't know if I'd have, because I was scared. And she went, listen, I'll come up with you. We'll make it work together. And he said, do you want to go down to the pitch? And I said, I went, yeah. So me and Rick Parry went down to the pitch, and he went, he said, go and stand where you used to stand as a kid, in the cop. So I went and stood in the cop on my own, where I used to stand as a kid, and then just all the memories come flooding back. And I just went, yeah, let's go and sign. And I signed with about 10 minutes to spare. Yeah, and that was it. Yeah.
Even the way you were thinking about it and that, Chris, is crazy. But yeah, so you signed on that. Am I right in saying they signed Dudek the same day?
So they told us, yeah. So I think there was Phil Thompson. I only heard it about 6 months ago, actually, the actual truth about what happened. So they were trying to sign me, then they were trying to sign, because Coventry said no. Then they were trying to sign Jersey. Jersey's deal fell through over a medical or something like that. His team asked for more money. Then Coventry asked for more money. So they were saying, look, we're panicking here. Like, we need to sign at least one keeper. I think the plan was only to sign one. And then when the deals kept falling down, they both eventually agreed. One party was trying to deal with Liverpool. One party was trying to deal with Jersey's team. Both parties agreed a deal at the same time. So they said, look, let's just sign them both.
Crazy.
Yeah, because we can't miss out on one. If we've got two, brilliant, let's sign them both.
When you come in, did they say to you, Dudek's number one?
Yeah, Gerard Hullier rang me, said, congratulations, brilliant to have you. He said, before you sign, I'm going to let you know Jersey's going to be number one, you're going to be number two. But he says, when you're ready, you'll play. And he says, I'm true to my word, I'm an honest man, and he was great. I must admit, though, after about 4 or 5 months of seeing Jersey, I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to get him. Because he was unreal. Like, in training, in everything, I was thinking, wow, this bloke's going to take some shifting. But he was brilliant with us. We roomed together as well, me and Jersey.
Could you feel a level, Chris?
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Listen, I was
signing for a big club like that.
And I thought I was fit.
Elite.
Right, I thought I was fit, and I come here, and I was fit, but compared to some of them, I was nowhere near it. So I knew I had to quickly get up to speed, and did pretty quickly. I worked with Joe Corrigan, who was like Jim Blythe, similar. Like they just drilled you into the ground. Like you used to come off like couldn't do any more, and I loved that. That was me. That's what made me tick. So it was So after we signed, it was the weekend, because it was international weekend, and this tells you everything you need to know about Gerard Hullier. So he was in France back home because it was international break, and it wasn't due back in till the Monday. He flew to Liverpool on the Friday to meet me, and come back from his family. He said, I wanted to settle you in. Yeah. So Phil Thompson picked us up from the training ground and said, I've just got to make a detour quickly, and never told us. And then we go into the airport, we're thinking, what are we going to the airport for? So me and my girlfriend in the back, Phil's in the front. He said, I've just got to pick someone up. And
what was Phil Tomo like, Sam?
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. And he said, I've just got to pick someone up, and it was Gerard Hullier. And
when you pulled up and you seen it was Gerard Hullier,
gobsmacked.
Did
and
you
I got in the car. I got in the car. I was like nudging me on my girlfriend, saying, "Oh my God, it's Gerard. He's a manager." Because I knew, because they told me he wasn't going to be in till Monday. They told me he wasn't coming back. Yeah, but that just showed. And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I wanted to come in, settle you down, come and make you sign and stuff. I wanted to see you before Monday." So and then I think he flew back. I think he flew back on the Saturday.
It's a touch in it, Chris, and you know you're working with now. You set the tone. You went, listen, I'm in good hands here.
Tomo and Gerard Hulley were like chalk and cheese, but they were the perfect match.
Yeah, they got on.
And Sammy Lee, who was the
coach. Sammy Lee in the back.
Joe Corrigan, like every all the setup, the staff were just brilliant.
Everything I've ever read, what Gerard Houlier's ever written or said about, he's always spoke very, very highly of Chris.
Really when we lost him a few years, it was. So I went to his funeral. So at Anfield they held like a special. There was only like 50 people allowed because it was during COVID.
Wow, yeah.
But I went because he was an incredible guy.
Influential character on your career as well. Yeah. So you met Jersey and you were roommates. What was he like?
Brilliant. He used to pay the room bill, so I loved it. He used to pay the room bill, so he was great.
What was he like as a person?
Awesome. Yeah, still to see. It's like we only see each other occasionally now, but whenever it's like nothing. It's like we were training together again.
Good keeper, great keeper, and great man as well.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, he really, really was, wasn't he, Chris?
Yeah.
He was.
He was awesome, and like I said, I was thinking, he's going to take some shifting, and then obviously the Man U game. He had
a howler at Man U, and he brought you in, didn't he, Chris?
Yeah, so that was it was hard.
Was that a bittersweet for you?
Oh, it was horrible. I mean, listen, as a goalkeeper, you know you're only going to get in if the goalie gets injured or if they have a bad run of form. That's just it. That's the only way you're going to get in.
It's hard for me to get my head around it, Chris, because like any other position, if you're an outfield player, like I think you got signed as 6 million 20 odd years ago. They're bringing you in as a future goalkeeper. You're a big signing. Then now if you're getting signed in centre mid or up front or left back, anywhere else on the pitch, you're coming in as they're bringing you in to play. Now with a goalkeeper, especially with the elite teams, it's like looking now. We've got Alisson Becker in goal. Yeah, we've got Kelleher, who's arguably probably the best number 2 in the world, who's sitting on the bench now at the moment. I mean,
I think it's because you know how bad when you make a mistake as a goalkeeper, it's the worst feeling in the world. It is like you want the ground to open up and swallow. Honestly, it's just you feel as though you're the worst keeper in the world.
I wanted to speak to you about the mentality of a goalkeeper, Chris, because I'm big on like mindset and stuff like that, and I like to try and to try and get in there and delve a little bit. Obviously you are the last man, and if you make a mistake, the book
9 times out of 10 it's in the net.
The book stops with you.
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake, it results in a goal. In real time, how do you deal with them situations, Chris?
Well, listen, I think it's evolved now. So obviously back then there weren't as much of the sports science, there weren't as much as the mental side of things. There is a lot more now. But yeah, I remember making it, and I didn't make too many mistakes. But the ones I always remember, one that sticks in the mind was when I was at Wigan, and I'd been out all pre-season with a back injury. Literally the day of pre-season started training, which pre-season for a footballer is so important. You've got like the pre-season, the 5-6 weeks, whatever it is. I think it's slightly less now because of obviously the international games. But if you miss pre-season, you are on catch-up straight away. And I missed the whole of pre-season, but because I was captain, because I'd played like 3-4 years on the spin for Wigan, Martin said, listen, if you tell me you're okay to play, I'll play you. And the first game of the season against Blackpool in the Premier League, they'd just been promoted. So I knew I wasn't fit. I was nowhere near, I could hardly move, but I was thinking if I don't play, I could lose my place, and all this, but it was selfish really.
Was it anxious? Did you get anxiety and stuff through that, Chris? Because I know I would.
Yeah, I shouldn't have played.
The type of person I am. Yeah. If I weren't in that squad and I knew I'd missed pre-season, I'd be thinking to myself, if I don't play here, things could fall apart, and my mind would start reeling. So you're creating this pressure upon yourself, and then when you shouldn't play, you do for the wrong reasons.
I remember going home from training on the Friday. The game was on the Saturday, and I said to my wife, I said, I'm playing tomorrow. She went, what? She went, what do you mean you're playing? You told me you weren't going to play. Because she knew, like she said, you couldn't get out of bed this morning. She said, I had to help you out of the bed. I went, no, I've got to play. So she went, listen, I'll back you, but you shouldn't be playing tomorrow. She said, you should not be playing football tomorrow. So anyway, I played and I had a shocker. I let like one through my legs, I let another one under my arm, and still played the next game. So still did a little bit of training during the week. Like I trained like literally one day, played Chelsea, got beat 6-0, had a couple of more howlers, and then I got taken out of the team and I never got back in the team. That was the end of my Wigan career. Yeah.
That's tragic.
But I knew, listen, it was my fault. I shouldn't have played, but that's the you've done something for so long, for so many years, you think, I can get through this.
You're a believer in fate, Chris. Do you believe that these things happen? Because I've read up on you. And I can't lie, I was fucking laughing to myself yesterday because I was thinking to myself, it's like reading a novel. Your career's something else. But some of the things that happen to you during your career, I was reading, thinking to myself, this boy had some luck, do you know what I mean? In crazy ways. But are you a believer in fate that these things were meant to happen? Or because, like, if you didn't play, them games wouldn't have... If you would have said, no, I'm injured, I can't play, them games wouldn't have happened, and then maybe you would have stayed at Wigan and you wouldn't have got dropped, and that would, you know, there's all these woulda, shoulda, couldas, isn't there? You know what I mean?
That's why it's mad, innit, in mine. But that was the end of mine, but I should never have played.
What was your inner dialogue like on the pitch, Chris? You know, like as a keeper, do you know when you're there, and, you know, you might, like, make a clang and you let the ball in and whatever, then you're talking to yourself, because as well, a keeper can be a lonely position in terms of if the game's going one way and it's more in their end and your team are on the up, you're standing there, but you've got to stay focused for long periods of time, because they break. And next minute, you've got some centre forward running at you, speed of light. You can bang a ball with both feet, and you're like, whoa, you've got to be ready to react.
It's evolved, the game's evolved a lot. Yeah, like, you look at Alisson Becker now, he can do nothing for 89 minutes and make an unbelievable save, or he can make save after save. He's the best goalkeeper in the world.
Because for me, I think that'd be he's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's the best, and he has been for the last 4 or 5 years, and he will be for the next 2 or 3 years as well.
He's class. He's absolute
awesome.
Class.
But it's a hot goalkeeping, and people say, well, and listen, we know that's a job, but it is the toughest position on the pitch. It's the most unforgiving position on the pitch. It's the one position where people point the finger the most at if 100%. Things are going wrong. But listen, we know that as goalkeepers, but it's still not nice. Still not nice. No. So I knew after that game that my time at Wigan was going to come to an end, and probably my own fault. Like I said, I should not have played.
Did you have any mental routines, Chris, or any visualisation, or did you work on anything like that in terms of, like, before games or big games or penalty shootouts or anything like that? You know, did you have any sort of mantras or anything that put you in a mindset where you were like, listen, I'm fucking switched on, I'm ready to go here, this is it, you know?
More what I mean? Toward, so when I first started, no, it just all come. When you're younger, you don't think about that. You just want to play, you want to train. I was obsessed with it, you know, and it just come naturally. Yeah. It's not until your body starts to slow down a little bit. So when you get over, you know, when you get 29, 30, once you get over 30, your body just changes, like naturally anyway. But when you're an athlete or a footballer, you can feel your reactions not quite what they should be.
And your recovery's not the same either.
No, you're conscious of it as well. So then you try and do a lot of the visualisation stuff. So that's when you look back on videos, you're making saves, you're doing stuff, you film yourself in training saying, yeah, actually, I've still got it, I can still do it. And that's when that part, and that's a big part of it now. And that's something I wish I would have probably done sooner.
Yeah, to develop your game.
Yeah, because listen, I was a good goalkeeper. I wasn't the best by any means.
Very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I was good, but I wasn't the best.
Your career speaks for itself, though, Chris. You played the amount of clubs you played for, and the amount of people who seen something in you. I think I could have done more
on the mental side of stuff, though. I think I could have been I mean, the injury one, the one that does me. When I was at Liverpool, When I left Liverpool, I was hardly injured. I hardly missed a game.
Well, when you were at Liverpool, when Duda had that howler and then they brought you in, you were playing great, and then you got a knee injury, didn't you?
Did my cruciate. Yeah, did my cruciate ligament.
You're back out, and then Uli has another bad game. I think it was Man U again, and then they bring you back in. And then you're having a good few games on the screen. You broke your finger.
Yeah, so I did. So they're all like injury prone. Is when you are pulling the same muscle for me.
Yeah, again and again and again.
Yeah, again and again.
But they're all different injuries, ankle, knee.
It was just different. It was just bad luck. Sometimes I was probably too brave for my own good, and I jumped in where I shouldn't have done.
Uli said, like, Chris Kirkland's some keeper, and he's very, very brave.
Yeah, probably too brave at times. That's got me injured. But when I left Liverpool, I went to Wigan, played 140 games on the spin. The last 2 yees, I didn't play after that Blackpool game. I lost my place. Went to Sheffield Wednesday played 90 games on the spin. So
got a smack in the face at Sheffield Wednesday as well. What happened there, Chris?
For the Leeds game, I mean that game should never have been on a Friday night to start with. Sheffield Wednesday Leeds, because it's just asking for trouble. So obviously there was a lot of people drunk. There was a lot of that, and it's like a fierce diet, as people know. You know, so it was, it was. I mean, I was more gutted that I'd let the goal in. I mean, honestly, so when you let a goal in, especially we were 1-0 up, and I think it was like the 77th minute, you're thinking, and we were down, like not down, we were near the bottom.
Yeah.
And we're thinking
it was important.
It's important, yeah. So when you let a goal in, it got deflected. I had no chance with it, but you're deflated. So you're like,
morale's everything as well, isn't it?
And then you think there's still 15 minutes left. So you're thinking, can we hang on now? Can we maybe nick another one? So I was deflated and I was down, as you do when you let a goal in. And I literally just seen something here, and then didn't really know what happened. And then I felt it, like, is with that part? And it's more shock, I think.
Yeah, it
was more shock, and then obviously, I mean, he got sent down for it in the end. And he's been in a lot of trouble since with it as well. I think he's the chap. You seen the chap that fell off the thingy in Chelsea off the stands?
No.
For Leeds fan.
No, I didn't see it. Wow.
Yeah. This was last year.
He doesn't learn.
No, but listen, I mean, I got contacted off Leeds quite a few times saying, look, we think he's changed and all this. I said, listen, if he has, great, I've got no issues.
Yeah.
But they found out he'd not, and he's been in loads of trouble.
There's just no need for it as well, is there, Chris? Look, at the end of the day, it's a game and all that.
Do you know what I was more bothered about? My daughter was watching it at home.
That's what I mean, it's not nice.
She was, what was she been at the time then? 6 or 7, and she was like in bits. My wife was at the game.
And at the time, you're not thinking stuff like that at some hours because you're just in the moment, aren't you?
That's what I mean. I was deflated. I was like almost limp, if that makes sense. So when you're like that, so you could get blown over by a flipping feather. When you're that light, you're like...
Do you know now, looking back, Chris, do you know, like, this is very, very hard question to answer, probably all thing to say. When you did have mistakes or when goals did go in and you would be deflated, you know, would you try to shake them off a little bit differently and try and get your head back in the game quicker and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Because it's very hard, isn't it? You know, it's like if you're on a fucking driving test and you make a mistake, that mistake's living in your head. You're going round the next corner thinking about what happened, and sometimes
that's what separates.
we can't leave that behind. But if you can just go, look, that's gone, that's made, and I can't do nothing about it now, so let's go again.
That's what
it's being able to draw that line and say, listen, we're fresh here, we've got to go again.
Peter Cech was like that. He very rarely made a mistake, but if he did, he'd like never make one again, but he'd
shake it off.
Alisson's like that. I can only remember on one hand how many mistakes he's made. If
Very little.
But that's what separates the top keepers. Yeah, and the top players, particularly keepers. Players make mistakes during every single game, but they're not noticed. Unless it's like, you know, a back or whatever, like a high profile one, but very rarely they'll make them again. The
margins are very small, though, especially for a goalkeeper, Chris.
For a goalkeeper, though, it's but it's certainly something I wish I would have. The mental side of stuff, I wish I would have worked on a little bit more. Yeah.
I want to go back to Liverpool, and then I'll touch on your mentality a little bit because I've got so much to ask you, and I haven't got all day. So, when you were playing for Liverpool, I know that you had a run of games, and I think it was 2004, the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And you couldn't play the final. What happened, Chris?
So that was the League Cup final, wasn't it?
Yeah, the League Cup final, sorry.
Yeah, I did my... Was that my cruise ship? I think was that my cruise ship?
Was that when you done that?
So I did, so that was in the January. It would have been, because I did my cruise ship in the January in the FA Cup 3rd round, 4th round. And then I was out then. So, I played in all the semi-finals against Sheffield United.
We went on to win it, didn't we?
So, but I did my cruise ship, so missed the final. But I always remember, and this is how good Liverpool fans are. So I was down at the Millennium. So I was down there, and I had my knee brace on. And I obviously couldn't play, which was just devastating, especially when you've played every round. And then I just remember going down to the pitch and just walking down to the pitch, and like the reception I got off the Liverpool fans, like it didn't hit at first, because I was thinking, who they clapping for, like and they went, that's for you, like the staff went, that's for you, like that, and that just shows how good Liverpool fans are.
Got a question as well, Chris, and this is one. No, I don't only speak for me here. I think I speak for every Liverpool fan. I'm a Scouser, and I've been a Liverpool fan all my life. And the amount of times where I've went to Anfield, and I've sat in the cop and I've looked onto that pitch and just I've tried to imagine what it'd feel like being there. For you, you've actually had that experience. Can you even try to put into words what it was like when you're standing in front of the cop and it's at capacity, that actual feeling inside, Chris, when you're there?
I mean, you've just said that now and I'm like, got goosebumps. Yeah, it's undescribable, and particularly when you've supported Liverpool as well. And
you've lived my dream and every other little boy's dream, you know.
But facing the cop, I mean, obviously the cop's known for, you know, they clap keepers and even opposition keepers. But when you're running out to that cop and they're chanting your name, and I mean, they used to sing England's number one for me. I didn't think I was, but they used to sing that. But when the whole stand's singing that, it's nothing will ever beat that. People always ask me, like, obviously, I played for England once, and they said that must be a highlight of your career, playing for England. Nowhere near. Listen, it was an honour, don't get me wrong, and I don't want to dismiss it.
You played in 2006, weren't you?
Yeah, but playing for Liverpool, nothing gets near.
Is that the highlight of your career, Chris? Yeah. Second to none. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I mean, listen,
Even to have you in here, sitting here talking to me now is crazy. For me, it's a pinch yourself moment because you were in my era. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, I used to watch you on the telly and stuff like that. And, you know, like, I looked at a photo the other day and it was a picture of you. There was Steven Gerrard, John Arnerisa, Sammy Hippier, Jamie Carragher, Xavi Alonso. And I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
I have to pinch yourself sometimes.
Yeah, and you're now sitting in a chair with me.
I've got less hair now. I remember when I made my debut at Anfield for Coventry. So I'm playing for Coventry. I think it was 18 and a half. And the whole week, I was just thinking, I can't wait to hear You'll Never Walk Alone. Like, I just, because they used to play it, they still do before the kick-off. Yeah. And there's a
passed the flag up the cop and all.
Yeah, and somebody showed me a video a while ago, and I'm on the pitch as a Coventry player just before kick-off, and I'm singing You'll Never Walk Alone as a Coventry player. But all the lads knew I was a Liverpool fan. I mean, imagine doing that now, like an opposition coming and singing, like they're getting slaughtered off other people. Yeah. But I just couldn't wait.
Through and through, yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't wait to You Never Walk Alone.
It's an unbelievable story. Also, Chris, I've got to ask you this one as well. I read that your dad, I think it was, had a bet that you'd play for England.
He did, yeah. He did.
Come on, tell me about that.
So it was after that first game in goal. Remember I said about the first game in goal when I was nearly 14?
Yeah.
So it was after that game. He put it on, never told me, never knew about it, and kept it in his pants drawer for 12 years, a little slip, and never told me about it. I only found out the day before the game because I had to do a press conference, and they said, "Oh yeah, your dad's got this bet on you to play for England." I said, "Is he?" I said, "Has he?" I said, "Don't know." So I rang him and he went, "Yeah, I had it." Like, he said, "But don't worry about it." He said, "We'll all be there tomorrow. We'll all support you." And they all come up, all the family were up, and it was William Hill. So they come to the house the next day and give him a big check. Yeah, but it weren't just me dad. I mean, this is the thing though. It was £100 at 100 to 1. Which, when he put it on, when I was nearly 14, if I'd have gone in the bookies with him, he'd have got about 1,000,000 to 1 because I was not in the best shape at all. They looked at me and went, absolutely no chances that lad are going to play for England. So it was awful odds, but my mum and dad didn't have 100 quid, so there was like aunties, uncles that threw tenner in, a couple of people down the local sports club threw a tenners in and stuff. So it thankfully paid off. The only downside, it was at Old Trafford.
It's amazing, Chris, how humble you are as well, even now when I talk to you now. You know, because you've been at the very, very height of the game and stuff like that, and you haven't forgotten.
I was brought all right. Listen,
you haven't forgotten your roots, and
I was brought all right. I've got a great
it's really,
wife.
really, really nice to see that.
Listen, I wouldn't have got to where I got to without my family, without my parents and sisters, but without my wife as well. Like, we met when I was 18. Told her I was just breaking into the first team, like youth team first. Told her I was a land surveyor. So I was with my best mate on holiday, and he was a land surveyor, so I knew everything about land surveying. And then it was after we started dating, and it was after about 6 months, she went, "You're not a land surveyor." I went, "Why? What makes you say that?" She went, "Something just doesn't add up." Like, she said, "I'm not bothered." She said, "Even if you're doing something whatever," she said, "I'm not bothered." So I said, "No, I'm actually a footballer. I play football." And she went, "Why don't you just say that from the start?" And I went, "Because I just, like, you don't, do you?"
No,
thinking,
and you don't know,
don't know what that girl's like.
And if you tell her, "Yeah, I'm a footballer," is she with me because she wants to be with me, or is she with me because I'm a footballer? She's never, she's just, without her, I wouldn't have got to where I got to. Yeah, you'd always speak very highly of her, and your daughter as well.
Yeah, Lucy, she keeps us grounded. Yeah, she's...
And your dog Chris, we can't forget the dog.
Dogs. Yeah.
Seeing you out walking the dogs and that.
Yeah, I mean, we had before the two we had now. We had Max, who was a golden lab, and whenever I come home, I'd take him out. So after games, that was my getaway. So taking the dogs, taking them out, and that's still to this day. So I've always loved dogs, and they're just
I've got a dog.
What you got?
Yeah, Staff, little blue Staff.
Yeah, they're just the bond between a man and his dogs is.
I like the dog better than anyone in the family.
Everyone knows I do. Yeah, everyone knows.
I tell my whole family all the time.
Everyone knows I do.
So yeah, you can see you're a family man, Chris.
Yeah, I am, mate. Yeah, I love. Listen, I love playing football, but family's always been more important than football. Football's, it doesn't come anywhere in comparison to family. I was lucky with the football, but even luckier with my family.
Towards the end of your career, Chris, I know that you went from, it's hard to see now, you went from Sheffield Wednesday, you signed for Preston North End. You played there for 12 months, am I right? Yeah. And then you signed for, was it Bury?
Yeah, should never have signed.
You shouldn't have signed, and you didn't play because you signed yourself off the press. What happened there, Chris?
Yeah, so when I left, so I was at Liverpool for 5 years, Wigan for 6, lived in the same house, same area, same routine for 11 years. Daughter come in 2006, could pick her up from nursery, drop her off, take her to school, go to the school plays, all the important stuff, walk the dog in the afternoon. And then I signed for Sheffield Wednesday, and I was commuting, so I was travelling to, which people have to do, not moaning about that at all. So I was leaving like 6 a.m. to beat the traffic to get over there.
What's the life of a goalkeeper like? Sorry to interrupt you, Chris. Your daily routine.
So when I was at Wigan or Liverpool, so I'd always probably be the first in. So say if your training starts at 10:30, you have to be in. I think it's got a lot earlier now, but you had to be in by 9:45 at the latest, 10 o'clock latest. But I always used to get in have my breakfast, so I'd be in. So I would be in at 8:15, have some breakfast. Then I'd go in the gym and I'd do all my gym stuff, and then we'll go out to train. I'd go out earlier, so the goalkeepers always used to go out earlier. So if it was 10:30 training start for the outfielders, we'd be out there at 10. Yeah. So we'd do whether it's quick feet or head tennis, which was brilliant for keepers with your feet, and then train till probably about. I mean, it's changed a bit now. They tend not to train too long. They probably train for 75 minutes max because there's that many games. But ours was used to be about an hour and a half. So by 12 you'd be done. Have a bit of lunch, and then some lads would shoot straight away. Sometimes I did if we had to go to a school thing or whatever. But most times I'd have my lunch, go back in the gym, get a massage, do the ice baths, do all that sort of stuff, and then probably get home 3 o'clock, something like that. Yeah, so some lads are different. Some are, just literally turn up 1 minute before they're due there, train, get straight off. But everyone's and then you'd have people commuting. When I was at Sheffield Wednesday, I got off quicker because I wasn't in a great mental state and I wanted to be home. So I struggled with the change of routine when I went to Sheffield Wednesday. The football was still the same, the training was still the same, but everything else had gone. So my family life, I was getting home late. Daughter was in bed some nights when I got home. Sometimes I had to stay over because there had been accidents and traffic. So I was missing what I'd been used to for 11 years and started to struggle mentally. You're in the car for long periods on your own. I didn't want to commute with anyone because I thought, well, if they do something after training, I'm going to have to wait for them and then I'm not going to get home till what time So I said, no, I'm going to drive myself there and back. So if you wanted a lift, you have to come when I go and when I leave sort of thing, which was selfish, but my mind was saying, you need to get home. So I would train, I would get home, but the club were great with us. And then it was ironic actually because the last 2 years at Wigan, I was fit, just didn't play, just not preferred. And I signed for Sheffield Wednesday and everyone was saying, why they say he's injured? He's obviously not played for 2 years. He's been injured. I'm not. I was as fit as a fiddle. And I signed for Sheffield Wednesday. And I actually signed for Sheffield Wednesday. They said, listen, we're a little bit concerned about, your fitness record and stuff. So, well, why? I've been fit. There's no issues. They said, well, we're just a bit worried about your back. I says, well, okay, so what do you want to do? And they said, well, we want to put a clause in your deal that if you miss 4 games on the spin with your back, we can rip your contract up. So my agent went, you can't sign that. I said, why? I said, I know how my back's fine. I said, I know I'll play every game this season. And he went, are you sure? I went, yeah, I'm sure. So I signed it. And bearing in mind in Championship, you could play Saturday, Tuesday. So within the space of 10 days, which is possible, I could be out of contract. They could rip the deal up. So I told the owner, she went, your back's fine. She said, but it's up to you. I said, no, I'll sign. So I signed, but 2 days before the first game. So I did all pre-season, flying, 2 days before the first game, whether I was anxious or whether the travelling was getting to me a bit, my back stiffened up, and I was thinking, oh my God.
Shit.
I was thinking, if I don't play here on Saturday, like, everyone's going to say, look, told you. So I got hold of some painkillers, some tramadol, and took them, and it took the pain away. I could have probably still played, but took the pain away my back, but also mentally, they relaxed me. So they took my anxiety away. And I was thinking, I could use these just when I travel to and from Sheffield. But with addiction, very quickly, it gets hold of you. I played every game that season, never missed a game, played all 46 games, got player of the season. But off the pitch, I was starting to really struggle mentally, and the addiction was taking over. And it changes you it changes you mentally. It changes who you are, and you withdraw. I was getting home, I was shutting the gates, didn't want to talk to anyone, didn't want to, eventually, when the addiction gets hold of you. And I knew after about 3 or 4 months I was addicted, and because the last thing I thought about at night and the first things I thought about in the morning. So I was literally the first thing I did in the morning. I had them by my bed, I'd take them. And then at night, I was thinking about the next morning. So, and over them, the next 2 or 3 years, it just become just dark. Just didn't want to live anymore, because that's what they do to you. At the start, they help, but I was taking them for the wrong reason. I wasn't taking them for pain. I was taking them to help my anxiety, which is wrong. But eventually, they just take over your mind and change the way you're thinking, and have the adverse effect, and just they sent me just completely bonkers.
Did they, Chris?
Yeah, sent me bonkers, yeah.
What would a day look like when it was at its worst?
Just didn't want to wake up. Just couldn't wait to get to sleep, and just didn't want to wake up at night. Football was the last thing on my mind. The first year was a bit of a distraction, the games, because I could forget about it, and I got player of the season. Second season, I was starting to struggle a bit during games. So I was taking them onto the pitch for me, and I used to take a little bag in,
the little
drink
bag,
and stuff.
You'd have drink and that.
So I'd make sure the tablets were out the packet, so I could grab them, and I was taking them during the games in the end. So you've got.
How many would you be taking a day, Chris?
At my height, tramadol, you're not meant to take any more than 400 milligrams. My worst, I was on over 2,500 a day.
Jesus, how many is that in tablet form?
So you got the 50 ones. But eventually I went to the 200 milligram ones, so I was taking 10 of them a day, and you're only meant to take 2.
Wow.
So I should be dead. It should have killed me. But the addiction is, if you need more and more, because your tolerance goes up.
Less.
So you need more and more.
It's not having the same effect.
No, and in the end it wasn't doing anything. They were just...
When you were taking them,
yeah,
for the benefit of them, Chris, what would it do? Would it calm your anxiety? Would it...
At the start.
Quell it?
At the start. Yeah, at the start they would, and you think, yeah, this is great. I can travel, I can do this. They're making me feel less anxious, but very quickly that changes. And
when did it become apparent to the people around you that you had a problem?
Didn't know. Wasn't until 2016 when I retired, when I told my wife. So for 4 years, kept it from them.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody knew. The club didn't know. You'd get drug tested, they wouldn't show up in your drugs, because it's banned
medicine,
now. It's banned now. Club never gave us them. I always got them off doctors, private doctors, just anywhere
you could get them.
Listen, I used to go in changing rooms and try and get them off the opposition changing rooms. So in my third year, my first 2 years I was playing most of the time at Sheffield Wednesday. My third year I was on the bench, which I was relieved about, because I couldn't concentrate. Mentally I was gone, and that should tell you everything you need to know.
That must have been some pressure as well, Chris, on you. Do you know, because obviously you're a goalkeeper, you're playing for Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. There's a pressure there anyway to show up.
A huge club.
Big club.
Big fan base. Third year I weren't playing, I was relieved. But at half time or during the game, I'd used to go into the opposition changing room and try and see if they got any tablets. So that's how bad the addiction was, yeah. So I left in 2015. I was in my training gear. My new deal was agreed with Sheffield Wednesday. I'm driving over in the morning thinking, I'm never signing this deal. I'm not signing this deal. Got changed, got into my training kit, went in the gym, just about to go out to train, and I just went upstairs and said, I can't sign. They said, what, everything all right? I said, no. I said it was my wife. I said, my wife's in a bad way, and I'm struggling as well, and I need to get back home. I need to be closer to home. And they were stunned, because it was a brilliant club. The staff were amazing. I loved my time there. The fans, got a great relationship with the fans. The goalie coach, Andy Rhodes, I remember telling him, and he just broke down. He said, well, why didn't you tell me? He says, why didn't you tell me you had an issue? And it was the hard driving away that day was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, because I didn't want to do it, but I did. If that makes sense.
You knew you had to.
I knew I had to. So I drove home, rang Leo, and I said, I'm done with football. And I just said, I'm depressed. Didn't tell her about the painkillers. Ended up signing for Preston. So I went to Preston for a year, but I was like, I could hardly train some days because I was
shadow yourself.
Like, yeah. And then I retired in 2016, told Leo, and I said, I'm addicted to painkillers. Just lost my dog, my first dog, Max. He was 14. That just completely. I just drove home from training. I got the call. I was at training with Preston. I was in my kit. Drove home. He waited till I got there, and that just broke me. We lost a family friend to cancer. All these things hit us, and then I just got home. It was when I got home from the dog. I just said, I'm addicted to painkillers. Just turned around to her and said, listen, I'm addicted to painkillers. I need help.
What did she say?
She just hugged us, cried. She said, I knew there was an issue, and I've been asking you, and she had been. And I just said, no, I'm just okay, like I'm fine, like you do to everyone when they say that. And she said, right, what do we do now then? How do we get you help? What's available? I said, I don't know. She went, well, what about the PFA? You remember the PFA? Surely they've got to do something for you. So I rang Neil Mellor, and I said, because he was like the PFA rep. He was a good friend of mine. I said, look, I'm addicted to painkillers. What do we do? He went, Kirky, they've got services set up with the PFA. He said, give them a call now. He said, I'll ring them for you. He said, I'll ring them. So he rang them, and then they rang me, and I met the PFA, got off them. PFA were great, got off them. And then I missed the routine of being a footballer, so I'd retired. I went to Bury, should never sign for Bury. Ended up with me standing on a roof in pre-season, like wanting to jump off, come home from there.
Was it that bad?
That was it. That was it. Yeah, that's when it was like they gave us 2 weeks. Dave Flitcroft was unreal with us. He said, "Listen, go home, have a couple of weeks, and then come back in, and we'll have a chat." And he was just great. And I give it another go. And I was on the training pitch, and I just walked off the training pitch. Just walked off and said, "That's me done."
Was that the last time you'd ever played, Chris? Yeah.
I never actually played for Bury.
Yeah. But I mean, was that the last time you'd ever actually physically trained?
Walked off the training pitch. Like a shot went in and goal went in, and I just watched it go in and thought, yeah, I'm off. And I went upstairs, and Dave come in. He said, I said, no, I need you to rip my contract up. And he went, well, just think about it. And I went, no, I have done. I've given it 2 weeks. And he went, listen, we'll do anything you need for you. It's
nice, isn't it?
Yeah, he went through and got the contract and ripped it up. He went, listen, we can put that contract back together if you ring us in 4 weeks and say you want it, but there's a contract ripped up. You're out of contract now, but what can we do for you? We're here for you. They were great. And then, so I missed being a footballer. So 2017 went back on them. I was half contemplating coming back before that, but I tried and body just wasn't the same. And went back on them, and then went to rehab in 2019. Got off them again, and then lockdown hit in 2020 and went back on them again.
Wow.
And then it wasn't until 3 years ago, just gone in April, that I just broke down completely and told the world. And that wasn't for sympathy, that wasn't for pats on the back, that was for... because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore, and I knew if I didn't, I wouldn't be, because I was getting them off the internet. I was like hallucinating. The ones I got off the internet weren't tramadol. I don't know what was in them, but they sent me psychotic. Like they did. I collapsed, woke up the next, like told Leona I was ill. Like woke up, she said you slept for like 18 hours, and that's when I told her the day after. And that's when I come out eventually and told everyone, and that was so there's no hiding place. If you've got a hiding place and you can get away with something, particularly with addiction, then you can do. So now we've got drug tests at home, which we should have done the first time, we never did. Got drug tests so they can test me anytime, my daughter and my wife, and they've been probably the biggest thing that's kept us clean for the last 3 years. Yeah, without them drug tests. Did you ever get the urge, Chris, or the feeling? Cravings, yeah. Even after 3 years, yeah, bad. But do you know what can set it off? The last one was we were watching Amsterdam. It's a program on Netflix, and the doctor was addicted to painkillers, and we was watching it, and it just the next morning I just woke up and remembered it and started shaking, started having cravings. But because we put things in place, like the drug tests, the doctors, Leona come to the doctors with me and said, do not give him any more tablets. If he rings for an appointment, you ring me. Like, he can't see you on his own, he can't speak to you on his own. We set all that things up, they agreed to it. So the postman can't give me packages because I was getting them off the internet. So we put everything in place to not fail for those moments when you do have cravings, when you do have weak moments. And thankfully, it's been over 3 years now.
God bless you.
I wouldn't have got there without the wife.
It's brave as well what you've done to open up like that, especially being in the public eye and speak out and say, listen, I've got an issue here and I need to do something about it. What was the catalyst for change, Chris? Was it the fact that you knew you just couldn't keep going the way you were going?
I nearly died. So it was April the 17th, and I should have been dead. It should have killed me. And I thought it was, and my heart was beating out my chest. I was hallucinating. I couldn't, I was driving the car at the time as well. And I don't know how I got home. Literally got home, but I woke up the next morning and thought, you're lucky you're still here. And that was the moment when I said, you've got to be honest now and tell everyone.
What was the call on for you to keep going back to them, Chris?
The addiction.
Just the feeling of it.
Things happen. Like I said, I couldn't accept that I couldn't play football anymore then, eventually, when and then...
When you'd come out of that dark place.
Yeah, when you come out of that dark place, then you miss it, because it's something you've done all your life. And then you're thinking, bloody, have you let that slip? I retired at 35. I could have carried on till I was 40 easy. Not at the top level, maybe, but I was fit. I was still decent. So, and then things happen in your life that just happens, and you turn to things sometimes that you think help you at the time, and they probably do at the time, but then the detrimental effect it has eventually far outweighs that.
How did it affect your family, Chris? Like your daughter and your missus?
You don't see it when you're in it. You don't see it, because you're selfish. You're sort of blindsided to everything else. But now looking back, listen, I was never violent. I was never anything like that. I was never, I was always there for them, but I wasn't there, if that makes sense as well. So I'd make excuses sometimes to not go to things. Other times I would. But yeah, they suffered. The people that are in with somebody that's addiction or mental health, they suffer just as much as the person going through it. But you don't see that, because you're that occupied with yourself and your own mind that you don't see other people. But yeah, but it just goes to show how, say we've been together 26 years, and without her and without Lucy, would not have got through it. And a lot of other people as well, a lot of other friends, and Liverpool, the club, they've just been incredible with us. The foundation, Liverpool Foundation, they've been amazing with us. I remember going in the first time and telling them, and they just sat us down and said, right, what can we do to help? And to hear that off them, I was petrified as well.
To open up.
I was thinking they're going to get rid of us. They're not going to let me do stuff with them anymore. But they were amazing with us, and they still are to this day. But a lot of people to thank. But yeah, my wife and daughter have been incredible.
If someone was watching this, Chris, and they're going through anything like painkiller addiction, or just bad mental health, and feeling depression and stuff like that, what would your message to them be?
My biggest regret is never saying anything back in 2012, when it was starting, when I knew I had an issue. So that is my biggest regret, not saying something back then. And it took me 10 years to come out and tell the truth. So don't wait. Don't, if you're watching this, don't wait. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't think they're going to think this of you. They're going to think that of you. They won't. If you're telling the people that you love and that are closest to you, they will help you, and they will want to help you. And when you do that, I just remember the relief, like the weight off you. It's the old saying, the weight off your shoulders. I can still feel that relief now, like coming off my shoulders, and it gives you a little bit of hope that you're not on your own and you can get through it. But it's, people always say, what's the two things you can do? Well, you've got to ask for help, and you've got to, exercise and all this sort of stuff. Talking, it's true.
How do you manage the difficult days, Chris?
Still have crap days, but it's took me a long time to realise that I will have those days, and they're going to come, and I have to accept that. But it's about just getting through those days and waking up the next day and going again. And it takes you a while to get that into your head. But I know I'll have bad days, like everybody does, where nothing works. Exercise don't work, going for a walk, talking doesn't help. Whatever your coping strategies are, some days nothing works. And you've just got to say to yourself, okay, right, it's one of those days. It's shit, I feel like crap, but tomorrow's going to be a different day. And it's hard to do that, but I'm at that stage now where I know that I can do it, and those days will happen again, and I'll get through. Good
on you, Chris. Well done.
So yeah, don't be bright.
So you've had battles. You've had a lot of battles, haven't you? Obviously on the pitch and off the pitch.
Yeah.
Being in the public eye as well doesn't help, and responsibility and pressure and stuff like that. Do you know the fame side of things, Chris? Yeah. Like obviously, did that have pressure?
Listen, I wouldn't change anything. Being a footballer, and with what comes with it, what comes with being a footballer.
What was it like, Chris, the fame side of things?
Listen, I was never one that I wouldn't go looking for it, or, this is amazing, look at them, they're getting paid. I would, but listen, it's great. for people that love what you do and love you for the fact you're playing for their football team and support you. Obviously, when it goes the other way, sometimes it's not as nice when you're getting abused. Yeah. But for the ones that they idolise you. I mean, I grew up watching football. Yeah. I work now with players I used to watch on the Cop, John Aldridge, John Barnes.
This is a special moment for me now, sharing this with you.
Thank you. Yeah.
It really is, though. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I idolise players, and it's great. Listen, it's a mate. Listen, there is downsides. Don't get me wrong. There was times when we couldn't go out, or we went out for a meal, and it was made difficult, and people want to start trouble and all sorts of stuff like that, and people, But
was it ever overwhelming, Chris? Do you know, like, where you go out and, like, people are like, can I have a picture? Yeah, sounds great. And you love it at first, but sometimes a bit...
Yeah, I remember one when I was out with Leona, my wife, and she's Scottish, my wife. And, like, she's only 5'6", but...
Safe no messing.
Oh, my God. When she...
if
she says something in the house, if she calls it, like, me and Dor always say, like, if she kicks off,
she says, get in at 7:30, you're not going out.
So if she calls me Christopher, I'm like, oh, no. Or if she says Lucy Kirkland, Lucy's like, oh, no, what have we done? So we were out once, and a girl, like... You get the stuff, don't you, with girls and footballers and stuff.
Yeah, women.
I'm with my wife, like, chatting, and this girl's come up and put her arms all over me. Like, not bothered that my wife's sitting there, and my wife just give her this look, like, you better get your hand off her, like, sort of thing. But when things like that, it's weird when things like that happen. You're on about, like, but that only happens because you're in the public eye.
Yeah.
So there has been some outrageous stuff, like situations, like people trying to start fights, doing this and all this spin. I mean, when I first moved up, News of the World parked outside our house for 2 weeks. Just trying to get a story, but we were like that. Me and my wife were like that. Well, they're going to be disappointed here because we go bed at like 10 o'clock. We have a cup of tea in bed. We go bed like early, watch Netflix. So they're not going to get anything from us. So we're like, they're wasting the time for 2 weeks. But yeah, listen, you accept that you don't.
That's strange as well, Chris, coming from a normal background, what you came from. Obviously, you never come from that.
No.
And then
it was, but it's when it. Listen, it's like I said. Being a footballer is amazing.
It's great, it's amazing,
It's amazing. The atmospheres, walking onto the pitch, the adulation you get off fans. It's when it goes the other side. It's when people think they can say anything to you, they can do anything to you, that I'll never ever get, and that's not acceptable.
Everyone's got feelings.
It's not acceptable. And people will say about, they earn this, they earn that. It's rubbish. It's got nothing to do with money. It's got about being a decent human being, and I won't go into anyone's work and start abusing them for whatever reason or talking to people the wrong way.
A lot of people are on the level as well, Chris, like even from the world that you were moving in. Like, obviously, I'm just a normal everyday guy, so me sitting here now with you is an amazing moment. But what I'm saying is, if I was in that world where I was a footballer, I'd probably say, like, I'd treat the lads like I do me mates, and me and you now sitting here, you're just like you're the same as me. We all are. So when you start moving in them circles, you realise, do you know what? We're all the same here. Like, where it, for me now, like sitting here with you, or, when you're telling me about the players when we were discussing, but to you, they were just your teammates.
Listen, some players abuse it.
Some get ahead of themselves.
Some players abuse it and give the others a bad name. Some love it, some go out for the attention, some love all the attention and stuff like that. But listen, when I come up here, Stephen Wright, who I got pally with, his cousins, Dixie Elliott, I don't know if you know, or Jamie Gormley. Jamie lives just down here. We used to come down this road all the time and go to their house.
Yeah.
So they're people I still speak to this day. We used to go out together. They used to look after us. They're great lads. And they're friends that we've made since we've moved up here. But yeah, some footballers abuse it and make it difficult for other footballers. But it just comes down to what type of a person are you?
Over the years, Chris, out of all the teams you played for, who were the characters?
So, I mean, listen, at Coventry, when I first started off, Darren Huckabee, Noel Whelan, them two were crackers. I remember looking out the window sometimes as a youth team, like you used to study the first team. When they walked in, you're like, they're walking in, oh my God, it's the first team, like it's Noel Whelan, it's Dion Dublin. Back in those days, if you had any bad clothes, so like Noel Whelan, if anyone walked in the change room, Noel Whelan, Darren Huckabee with bad clothes on, they would get the clothes, put them on a flagpole and burn them out on the pitch. You used to look at every day, and there would be some clothes burning on the thing. Trainers would get cut up. But those two were unbelievable. Dion Dublin was a brilliant captain. He knew when it went too far, and he had
he'd say he has to swerve it, boys.
Caro was brilliant. Didi Amman was probably one of the funniest. Like, I don't think he even meant to be, but he was just like
funny man.
But yeah, Caro was great.
Carragher's a big character as well.
I sat next to Caro. He was 23 and I was 22, and we're still good mates to this day. But he was just to stay at Liverpool for your whole career. You don't do that unless you deserve to, for one.
He's another one of my idols.
Listen, sometimes you didn't want to be on their team in training because if you lost, they bloody wouldn't talk to you for a week. It was like win at all costs with him and Stevie, but they're the standards they set. And Caro, I remember Caro, he played about 200 games for Liverpool.
Took no prisoners either.
And this is Caro, right? So he got a new pair of boots sent him. And there was me, Danny Murphy. I'd just come into the change room and it was him and Danny Murphy. And Caro was like, he says, Kirky, what do you think to these? And he's shown us these boots, and they were like a different colour. So he wore black boots, Caro did.
Yeah.
And he said, they've sent me these. He said, what do you reckon? Do you think I can wear them? I said, how many games you played? He went, 200 odd. I went, I think you can pick what boots you wear. Playing 200 times, but he never wore them. So that was Caro. Like, he was like that. He was thinking, if I wear them, that's going to change the way I play, or is that?
Change the way it was.
So if you look at Caro, he very rarely wore anything apart from black boots.
Yeah, I do it always.
But he was just obsessed. I mean, he'd come in and say
and Gerrard would always have the Preds on.
Yeah. Caro would come in every day and say, sit down, did you watch that game last night? And I'll be like, no, what game? He was like, what do you mean you didn't watch a game? He said, there's a game of football on, you should be watching it. Like, he was obsessed. I don't know about games if like there was games out in flipping Bolivia or Brazil, like amateur teams and stuff like that, he would watch. And that's no surprise that he's gone on to do what he does with the media. Now, I mean, I thought he'd gone and be a manager.
Yeah, but no, he loves it, doesn't he?
But I think he admits himself I think he'd rag a few players if he was manager or a coach.
Yeah, he would, because he's that type. He strikes you as that type of fella, doesn't he?
Pundit now. But listen, I was lucky. I was around. Sammy Ipia was brilliant pro. Stefan Encho, Emileski. I was great mates with him. So I was around some unbelievable players and pros.
Yeah, you did. You really lived it. Bill Shankly had a quote saying, some people believe football's a matter of life and death. I'm very disappointed with that attitude. I can assure you it's much, much more important than that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, listen, I know what people say about football.
And it's like the likes of Carragher and that. That's where they live and dream and breathe it. You know what I mean?
And I think the pressure, obviously, being local lads. They were local lads, so they know what it meant to local people, to local lads.
It does mean a lot locally as well, doesn't it? Because you play when you're playing for the shirt, it's different.
It's your families. You know, your families are in the area. It's win at all costs, not just for you, but for your families as well. So yeah, they had a lot more pressure on those lads. The local lads have got a lot more pressure on them because they know. Listen, I know what it means to play for Liverpool, but not quite like what Jamie Carragher or Steven Gerrard did, being local lads.
But I mean, as well, they are like the absolute, the top of the pops. Like for Scousers, if you said who would you put up there as a player? Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard. They'll definitely be in there, and you were a part of that squad.
Yeah, do you know with Carroll? I mean, Steve's the best I've ever played with. In training, the best I've ever played. He was just, you had to see it to believe it sometimes in training. What he did, the way he controlled it, the way he passed it, Stevie was just a cut above. And I played against him for Wigan, and trust me, I'd rather be on his side than playing against him. But Carroll used to get a lot of stick, off the Liverpool fans because he used to boot the ball away and he used to do this and that. And the thing that changed it for Carroll was when he broke his leg. So he broke his leg at Blackburn, and he was out of the team for about 3 or 4 months. And that is when the Liverpool fans and everybody else realised what Jamie Carragher does for Liverpool. Consistent. No messing.
Stuck in.
Defends that goal at all costs. No messing. And in a way, I think even Carragher said this, in a way, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to Carragher when he was out for that 3 or 4 months, because it made everyone realise, we need him.
Yeah. But sometimes you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
No, and for me, like I said, defending-wise, he threw his body on the line, and I mean that's what I know it's the joke. He scored so many own goals, but that's only because he was desperate to keep it alive. He threw his body in, but he them two, like, you don't play for Liverpool for 70 all your career unless you deserve to. What
if I had to ask you, Chris, your absolute highlight of your career, what would it be?
Signing for Liverpool, just simple as that. Yeah, signing for Liverpool, nothing beat that.
Who was the biggest influence over your footballing career for you? Or if you can name a couple, but...
Yeah, my wife, definitely. She always, if things were getting tough or ground, particularly at the start, obviously the latter stages, she didn't really fully know what was going on, but she was always there. When your daughter comes along, that you know you're doing
That's
it.
special.
You're doing it for a reason. Then like, I used to love taking her to the games and stuff like that, and coming onto the pitch and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'd say them. But Oggy was massive. Oggy was massive for us as well. Steve Grzovich, from an early age, training with him. Jim Blythe, my goalie coach, I say I was lucky because I was around some incredible people and role models when I was young that set the tone for the rest of my career.
Life now, Chris, let's touch on that. What is life like now for you? What is it you're doing now at the moment?
I'm steady at the minute, yeah. So people always say that I'm okay, but yeah, I'm content, which is great. I'm the LFC Foundation ambassador, so I do a lot of stuff in the community, a lot of stuff in schools, a lot of stuff with different age groups.
You give back a lot, don't you, Chris? Charities and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we've got Alfie's squad gala ball tonight, so I'm a patron of that, which is a charity set up for kids bereaved by suicide, so they've lost their parents to suicide. So Alison and Alfie are doing amazing, so me and my wife are going to that tonight, which we can't wait. Foundation are sponsors of it as well. Do a lot of stuff with Walking's Brilliant, so Big Norm, Mark Crosley, we set up that, so we do a lot of stuff where we raise money and give it to lesser known charities, but instead of just giving checks where you don't know where they go, do you? We've all done it.
Just give something, where's it going?
Where's it going? So we buy equipment, or we'll build serenity gardens, so people can see exactly where their money goes to. I'm involved with Wellness on Side with Jack Knowles through Yappa, so we've got some big plans for that coming up. There's like wellness drinks and stuff like that. I get offered, people always say this, I get offered stuff all the time, as many people do, but the stuff that I promote now is the stuff that has helped me massively. So we're doing a lot of stuff with that, so the update's coming soon in May, so yeah, we're really excited about that. And then just try and do as much as I can. I'm addicted to exercise, so I'm addicted to the gym.
If I don't exercise mentally, I start failing.
My day is planned.
I suffer with anxiety and that, Chris, and because I have a lot to do, and obviously I've got like a big family, 4 children, I've got a podcast, I've got a business, I've got a lot on, but if I don't exercise, it messes me up. Like, I've been ill for the past, like I got really sick 2 weeks ago, I had like tonsillitis and stuff like that. I was on my back for a fortnight, and like mentally I started feeling really down and like quite dark and depressed, where I was like, shit, I need to do something here. I need to exercise because it fuels me.
My day's based around, so I need to do my exercise before I start my day.
So do I. In the morning time, every morning, I'll come in here, I'll exercise, get a shower, and then I'll start my day. And if my routine's not like that and it gets messed up,
it's not rocket science. People always say what's the 2 best things for your mental health, depression, when you're not feeling like talking and exercise? And people say, well, everyone always says that, but it's true. It's true.
Because there's no golden fixes there, you know what I mean? It's like
exercise makes me feel better, makes me feel less anxious. And talking, I love doing the match day stuff at Anfield, because I'll get people coming up talking about football, but mostly they'll come up talking about their mental health, their addiction, and people I've never spoke to before. And that then helps me as well. So listen, talking, even though it's the last thing you want to do sometimes, when you start talking, it makes you feel better.
100% it is, and I think we all need to talk, and it's the people who don't talk are the people who, you know...
Well, I didn't for 10 years.
Yeah, and they're the people who become beyond help, Chris. And sadly, sometimes they're the people who, you know, who we lose. So you need to speak out and, you know, try and find, and what works for one person doesn't work for everyone else. You know, there's no one size fits all, is it?
Try and find something that helps you. Try and find something that makes you feel that little bit better, because life is hard, life is tough.
I think we're all searching for the same thing as well, Chris. We're all searching for to be content and to be happy, and no matter what way you pursue that through, whether you're a cricketer, a footballer, someone who makes bloody blinds or washes cars, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the end goal's the same. We all want to be happy, and we all want to have peace of mind.
You've got a great business here, by the way, haven't you, with the blinds? Because I don't get it. I mean, I know that's your wife.
No, my wife.
Because my wife, you get the house done, and then 6 months later, I want to change it. Like, oh my God, we've just had it done 6 months ago.
Loads of people say to you, Jack, how don't you go out of business? You know, because there's only so many houses, but people are moving all the time, people are changing things all the time, and it's evolving all the time as well.
But to be fair, if my wife says something, then I don't argue with her, so it gets done.
I just want to say thanks for coming on. Is there any topics we haven't touched on, Chris, that you'd like to talk about?
No, I think we've talked about it all, haven't we? The charity stuff, the foundation stuff, Walking's Brilliant,
You're a good man as well, Chris. You really are. you know, even to come in and spend time here with us today.
Yeah, and thank you
when
for
I
your
say
donation
I
as well.
appreciate it, don't even
You
mention
gave
it.
a donation, so that'll go. Obviously, we buy a lot of stuff. We support a lot of families behind the scenes that's not publicised. So that's what that's.
Don't
going
mention
for.
it, Chris. But I just want to genuinely say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And do you know what? It's an absolute honour for me to have you in the chair as well. Before we go, I just want to do a few light-hearted questions. I've got them at the end. Normally call these fast questions, but these today are going to be questions with Kirky.
Go on then.
Yeah. Let me just get there. Give me a minute to compose myself.
There's one there, dogs or cats?
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Best save of your career?
It was one of my most important. I always look at the best save. It's not the one that looks. It was decent, but it was one that was most important. So it was one for Wigan. We were down at Chelsea. Chelsea were going for the league. We were struggling. We were on a bad run. They were 1-0 up. They could have gone 2-0 up. Nicholas Anelka's headed one. It's going in the top corner. Yeah, it's gone in the top corner. I've got back and arched back and literally tipped it out the top corner. But what that did was we then went up the other end and equalised Emileski. We got a 1-1 draw, and that gave us so much confidence. We went on and won the next 3 or 4 games and pulled us. So that was the most important one.
Amazing. Toughest striker you've ever faced?
I mean, I always think.
I'm here all night.
Yeah, I know. The scariest one I faced was Duncan Ferguson. Yeah. But the tough, I mean, Thierry Henry, Ronaldo, Alan Shearer was just, I mean.
These are some names. Chris.
Yeah, I was lucky I played against, you know, going back obviously, but some of the top ones. But yeah.
Henry.
Henry, Ronaldo and Alan Shearer was, not too many better than them.
Most underrated player you've ever played with?
See, this for me, and I don't know, you'll probably have a say in this because you're a Liverpool fan, but the one player that I played with him at Liverpool and I played with him at Wigan, and particularly at Wigan, if I knew he was on the team sheet and he was playing, I slept easy the night before, and it was Emileski.
Yeah. Good player.
So
great player.
And he gets a lot of, which I find baffling.
Nick, who works here, absolutely loves Emileski, and he's a season ticket holder, diehard, goes to every game. And
what he does for his teammates and what he does on the pitch that goes unnoticed, particularly when we was at Wigan. I mean, he kept us up. You know, at Wigan, he was just a leader, and he's a diamond of a bloke.
Yeah, good man.
Diamond of a bloke.
Penalty or 1-on-1, which is harder to save?
So I've never been asked that one. I never saved many penalties, to be honest. So I probably have to say penalties because I never saved that many. I used to like one-on-ones. But probably harder to save is the
penalty.
Penalties, yeah.
From dead ball, innit?
Dead ball when you stand it, yeah.
You can make yourself big and
always crap at them as well, because I never saved many.
Funniest teammate you've ever had?
Kev Kilban was funny. When I was at Wigan, he was brilliant.
You didn't even have to think about that, did you?
He just had that dry sense. I'll tell you another one as well, Lee Carsley.
Yeah.
Lee Carsley was they just had that dry sense of humour that they could just, like, one word from them and they could crack you up.
Yeah.
Like, Didi Man was great though as well. He was funny.
It's good for the soul as well, innit, Chris?
Yeah.
It keeps you going.
Yeah.
The hardest shot. Who is the hardest shot?
Stevie. I mean, and Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer could hit a
crack a ball.
Yeah, but
Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, when
how he drives it.
Yeah.
That one against Olympiacos, that was.
I was right behind that. So I mean, as soon as he hit that, I thought you've got no chance.
What a goal!
They used to do that every day.
Some hits.
He used to do that every day in training.
Yeah,
that was normal to us.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, people say, "Wow, what a..." But we
he could strike them like that willy-nilly
every single day. Yeah,
unbelievable player. If you could have played under any manager, past or present, dead or alive, who would it be?
Jurgen.
Yes. Good answer. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
First album?
Yorkshire tea.
Oh, right. Well, you should have asked for a cup of
there. You got Yorkshire, have you?
Yeah.
I was Tetley, but then when I went to Sheffield Wednesday, I got into Yorkshire.
Yeah. First album you ever bought?
First album was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So everything I do it for you. Yeah, so I used to play it. I used to have it on. I used to play it on vinyl. Wasn't quite like the vinyl, but I used to play it over and over again. But you had to, like, do the thing again. And
put it back on again.
Yeah, so that was my first one. Yeah.
Dream 5-a-side team. There's you and 4 others.
Oh, Sammy Hippier. Players I've played with.
Be anyone, but yeah, Sammy Hippier.
I'm gonna go players who I've played with.
Sammy Hippier. Yeah.
Sammy, Stevie, Javi Alonso.
Got one more.
And I'm gonna go. I'm going to go Emil.
Good squad. Hidden talent?
Fucking hell. Hidden talent? I've certainly not dancing, certainly not singing. No, I don't think I have.
It's a good question.
It's a great question.
Thinking that
walking, I walk very, very fast. People always, when they come for walks,
look at the size.
Yeah, they don't come back after like walking with me once. But yeah, I think I.
Do you reckon that's because you like to walk on your own? Yeah. So you're just absolutely stoned on Chris?
Yes.
I seen you on a walk and the missus was walking behind you. You got the dog. She's tagging on along on our walks again. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh no, that was slow. Yeah. No, if she does come out she has to run to keep up with us. And I'm still in front of her.
No wonder, because she's 5 foot and you're about 12.
With some abuse in me though.
What's your go-to takeaway order?
Oh, so Chinese, so probably crispy chili beef, egg fried rice, salt and pepper chicken. Man. A bit of curry sauce, maybe. Yeah.
Guilty TV pleasure?
What we're watching at the minute, we are watching The Last of Us at the minute.
The Last of Us, yeah.
But have you seen it?
No, I haven't. But my missus has been banging on to me a little bit about it, so I think it's about time.
Yeah, go watch it. But it's the second episode in the second series. Yeah. Be ready for that one. Absolutely traumatised us.
I'm going to have to watch it now, Chris. Yeah. Favourite holiday destination?
The best one we've watched, though, Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, love Yellowstone. I've watched Yellowstone. Cowboys, the ranch. Yeah.
Yellowstone.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Favourite holiday destination?
We like Tenerife and we like Melaneros in the Canary Islands. So,
been to Melaneros.
Yeah, we're going nice, there. We're going there in July. So daughter finishes her A levels, and then this will be her first.
Yeah, you can chillax.
She can chill. So
it's nice there, isn't it?
Yeah, we like it there.
It's peaceful.
We like Vegas though as well. We just come back from Vegas.
What was Vegas like?
Class. You never been?
No.
Oh, it's unreal.
So on the list.
I went for my stag do 20 years ago this summer.
Okay.
And then we've been 4 or 5 times since as couples. So it's whatever you want it to be. So you can go out there and go mental. You can go out there, see the shows. I mean, we went to see that Sphere this time. I mean, that's just how they made that is incredible. But Vegas is what you want it to be.
Yeah, it's what you make it. It's something for everyone.
Something for everyone. Yeah, it's great.
Is that where you've just come back from?
Just come back there, yeah.
And you've made the time to come in here, Chris. You're some man. Yeah. I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure. Congratulations on an incredible career, and thanks very much for coming on and sharing the studio and your amazing story. You're an inspiration,
mate.
Chris.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Guys, until next time, peace out.